Hello, dear friends. I'm really glad to welcome you in the audience of the digital space of Russian Economic University within forum the Step to the Future. We conduct our own table, Patriotism via the technologies. What stands behind this complicated name? What we would like to speak about. For the beginning, I would like to communicate with the audience. I see a lot of students among our participants who would like to be an entrepreneur, who would like to be a businessman, who is considering having his own business. Please raise your hand. I see some people who raised their hands. Among those who raised their hands, who would like to be a technological entrepreneur, so to be engaged in business that is connected with technologies. Please raise your hands higher. I see the hands. What is your name? If you feel free to answer my question, let's try. Founding business, founding strong technological business, concluding several agreements and be useful for the market and sell what you managed to found, to create. You would like your company to be still Russian, or you're ready to relocate your company to register it somewhere else in order to have better market coverage. I would like this company to be Russian, but maybe use some foreign developments, because some technologies abroad, unfortunately, are better developed. My question was a bit different. I will be more straightforward. If our business becomes interesting for Google or Apple, for example, or any other companies, will you sell your business to them? I will consider their offer. Thank you. That is what we would like to talk about today. Dear colleagues, indeed, a lot of processes in Russia are going on. They are developed at they are aimed at development of technologies. We talk about technological sovereignty. Every time we hear about facts that a lot of new companies will emerge, businesses, it goes without saying that we want this business to be located in Russia. And those taxes which these companies pay would be paid here in the country of origin. And that social responsibility that is borne by the entrepreneurs, it would be developed. We speak about various kinds of business. We speak about business that is interesting for students. We are speaking about business that is interesting for the youth, for new niches, for new opportunities which are available for many young people. It goes without saying that entrepreneurship and those skills which are being developed by the young generation here in the walls of this university, Russian Economic University, entrepreneurial steps. This is an opportunity for students to show their competency and to show their skills and to understand what they are worth in the market. Our work is, first of all, human resources. is creation of new human resources potential that help to develop our country, especially in new perspective directions. One of such markets where we are those ones who are trying to follow. But Tetris was the first one, and this is a game industry. This is not the new platform, it's a console. Does Nikita agree with me? Do you agree that Tetris console is console? I think they were ahead of PSP and many other devices. My first question, I would like to address Mariam Karpova, Chief of the Department of Implementation of Innovative Technologies of the non-governmental organization Russia is the country of opportunities. I know you're one of the people who launched a project, Start the Game. This project is aimed at project development connected with foundation of gaming market and human resources for the game dev in Russia. Can you share with us some results of those events which were held in the past? Besides the project launch Start the Game, I am the head of IT department, and not only Start the Game, but also the project that we are doing together with the government hackathon on intelligent games. We launched the competition on the 1st of July, which is aimed at talent development in the game dev and attracting the youth to those professions which are available in the game dev industry. And first of all, creation of teams which can create game projects and implement them not in the modern world, not only in Russia, but also export them abroad. As for the results, our registration campaign lasted from July till December. We received 82,000 applications. This is a really good result, which shows high interest of the youth in these directions. It's not only gaming; it also includes launching of projects and proactive position. Besides that, we have more than 40% of ladies in these projects, or the female. It also deserves our attention because everybody considers IT as quite a hard industry that where mainly men are involved. And different age. Even families participate in our competitions. Mothers, fathers, and children who solve tasks together. And the age is really diverse. Mainly, our target audience is the youth from 14 till 24 years old, but also includes those who are older than 60 years in general. I hope I answered your question. Today, in general, vision of IT situation. If we speak about hackathons, what is the volume and what are the goals that you set? We have 3.5 projects. We have a project Top Blog that is aimed at development of blogging. This is a famous project. Today, the third season has been launched today. The main task is creation of communities. First of all, for the project that has been implementing not for the first year, it is of crucial importance to create communities that will promote the events. Lots of people are concentrated in Moscow, but there are many talented people in regions of the Russian Federation who do not have an opportunity to study according to the programs that they would like to. And that is why the task of our non-governmental organization, Russia is a Country of Opportunities, is to provide approach to those resources and projects which are available. The main task of directions is of IT directions is our main task is creation of communities and creation in each region communities who can use our materials and they can educate and they can be mentors for the use in the regions of the Russian Federation. It can be data science, game dev, blogging, or anything that is connected with digital development of the country. In addition to the community, we are aimed at unification of the main players in the market. We face as a challenge. We implement something step by step, and if we are happy enough to see each other at such events, we can ask who is responsible for what functions. But the main task is creation of the community without any barriers so that all services could coordinate with themselves. Somebody is implementing projects, somebody is providing scholarships, somebody can be a mentor, and consolidation of participants, consolidations of tasks and decisions we make is of high importance. I think I have already said this like a year ago when we, for the first time here, represented a project Start the Game. Dear colleagues, let's unite our efforts so that we have the best results. Thank you so much. We speak a lot about creation of communities. Indeed. And I would like it to, as one of the key theses, to include it. The protocol is not. Unfortunately, we are not supposed to prepare the protocol after our meeting, but the main result that we need to feel as united community and not only meet at the round tables and discuss different projects. We, as a university, when we speak about development of regional policy, we are proud of our branches. In our turn, we develop students' community of different interests, so that students, in the case of technologies and entrepreneurship, for us, it is very important that we coordinate with the business community. Today, at the round table, there are representatives of business. There are 3 representatives. With 2 of them, we have concluded an agreement today, and we are really happy about that. These are those industrial partners. I would like to address to Nikita Sokolov, CEO of Transport Global. The colleagues are engaged in drone sport. These are drones races. In addition to sport, this is a big component of pilotless aerial vehicles. Where is competency? Where is the competition for staff? And what kind of human resources do you need? Do you need some people who have to do something with navigation, like, for example, with transport vehicles? Where are foreign competitors, whether you have competitors or not? And the most important is that remotely piloted aircraft represent today. We see quite a lot of news. We watch quite a lot of news about remotely piloted aircraft and everything that is connected with remotely piloted aircraft. We would like to see that, to hear that with pride, including also our special military operation and including development of human resources and new directions which are available today. My question is who would like to become the operator of the remotely piloted aircraft? Maybe you can draw a psychological portrait. Thank you. The question is clear. As for human resources, there was a lack of human resources before recent events. The direction is quite new, and many people didn't even understand. They couldn't even imagine what their salary could be. We educate. In addition to sport, we, so to say, build a staircase, so the person at the same time gets education and can participate in the competitions. He is a pilot who can navigate, and at the same time he is an engineer. As a basis, I take sport. The remotely piloted aircraft used in sports, our pilots model them independently, so they project them. And the basis of remotely piloted aircraft is the basis of any remotely piloted aircraft. When the person learns how to make this remotely piloted aircraft, he can create a remotely piloted aircraft in any sphere, like agriculture, for example. When we educate how to navigate, for example, we can take as an example stimulator. When the person learns on a special training how to pilot, how to navigate remotely piloted aircraft, he can already make money. We try to educate new human capital. In our sports league, we created a special division of educational institutions where we attract for cooperation schools, lyceums, colleges. We educate this kind of sport. We train, and at the same time, our students acquire skills of navigating remotely piloted aircraft. Let me repeat myself that many people do not understand the perspectives. We see more and more engagement in this direction. As for the type of people who are engaged in this sport, I mean remotely piloted aircraft sport, these are more extreme people. Everything is very individual. We don't have some special criteria, specific criteria. Even those people who started education, for example, one of them is a violinist from Yekaterinburg, or the person who used to be a real estate agent, and now they went in for a remotely piloted aircraft sport. These are people who used to skate, to ski, sorry. Some of our students love parachuting. And a new direction is programming of remotely piloted aircraft. We had an interesting communication with the organization of sports programming. About a month ago, in Europe, there is a European league. The first sports remotely piloted aircraft was launched. The speed was 150 kilometers per hour, and it was flying according to the program. This is what is planned for the future. Our colleagues and us, we discussed how to launch this in Russia, so that our students could program remotely piloted aircraft. And this is absolutely a new sphere which can be applicable in our everyday life. As for other countries, I think this question is more about localization of manufacturing. There is a huge problem connected with electronics. We have our own manufacturing site. We are localizing the motors. We cannot say that it is 100% Russian manufacturing because there are some components which are not available in Russia.
So we have problems with the point that some elements are not available in our country for production. So in any case, like 100% localization cannot be reached, but basically we should strive for this. These are the main things I wanted to share. Thank you. So another question. Those who go in for sports, those guys who go in for sports, do they plan to be sportsmen, or is it just a hobby, or somebody wants to use drones professionally for aero shooting or making some observations, cargo transportation, delivery purposes, and so on? So those who come to you to learn, are they mainly sportsmen or they want to work with drones? I understand your question. Well, currently, drone racing is mostly a hobby because people cannot provide for themselves. As sportsmen, they cannot earn that much to provide for a living. And they will use these skills in some other activities. Even our best pilots are dealing with video making for Match TV or Moose TV, so it's quite well paid, especially using sports drones. And the technology helps to make a beautiful picture in the air or make post-production or some civilian tasks like city monitoring. The guys get these skills, and the task is to find a job which will be related to drones. So all the guys participating in competitions are enthusiasts. Because, of course, there are some prices, but this is not the money which would make them comfortable. I understand. Thank you. So, Nikita Sokolov and we have signed an agreement today, and also we have signed an agreement with a company on aerospace activity, New Space. Anton Sergeyevich, Director General, is with us here. We're very happy to see you, and also there is a sample. You have a sample, and I have a question. So, and this is the question for our round table. And I think that my question is also related to the title that you have. So when we hear about the space, we remember a spaceman, which is not an astronaut, but a spaceman. And Russia and the history of space discovery is not only related to history, it's our base, it's our satellite, it's our Gagarin, our Leonov, our Tereshkova, Russian cosmonauts. These are those who were the first. And old space, so to speak, and you bring something new into that. Or today there is kind of global task for our youth as well, for all of us, so that to discover space once again? Or is it a continuation of the first part? Thank you for this question. I am grateful for an opportunity to speak here at the forum, Step into the Future. This is the second forum in new area. I would like to express gratitude to Ivan Vasilievich and other team for those who bring all these people together. And I would like to express gratitude to our audience as well for their interest and participation. Every country has its own specific feature, spacemen, astronauts, and whatever. There is kind of competition, what name you give to your spacemen so that to be different from others. And actually, in a Russian Center of Spacemen Training, the requirements are much harder. So There is a notion which is mainly used in the Western world, which is called new space. So-called new space, the term that they have from 1990s or 2000s, meaning the companies of new format, the campaigns of new format related to aeronautical and space activity. And not only such national agencies as Roscosmos, NASA, JAXA, and many others, but here we mean companies which, based on private equity, using modern approach, business processes, they alter the traditional paradigms, reaching the results which would be much cheaper and which will be implemented in shorter period of time. So old space versus new space. Let us say the launch of a rocket is kind of, well, 1,000 people. Let us say, how many people do you think should work for a launch of a rocket, of a space rocket? Let it be 12,000. Well, the so-called small towns are not far from Baikonur. 10 or 15,000 are those who live there, and everyone who is in this or that way involved in the service of a space runner. And it's kind of something related to something old. I do not want to diminish the meaning of each and every stage of this, but today a company from New Zealand, Rocket Club, I do not use only American or some French companies, but New Zealand, just for instance. They successfully launch to orbit, and space is more than 100 kilometers from so-called Kármán line. They launch their rockets, they deliver cargo, and their rocket Electron, which is on printed spare parts. So how many people are there involved? Just imagine how many people are involved into the launch in New Zealand. Well, I don't think that New Zealand is too crowded. Well, I think less than 1,000 people. Well, good frame, almost 20 people. And this makes it possible for them be successful, enter the market, and so on and so forth. So when there was a case, and I was on state service in 2018, 2021, I was deputy governor on digital transformation in Rostov region, when some of the colleagues asked us, help us launch a rocket, some private company. The industry said, well, before you visit all the institutions, Rosaviation said this is Roscosmos, and nobody needed your kind of rocket. So they said it would take us 10 years, and within 7 months we managed to prepare this way, and in December 2022 we launched private rocket. Sometimes impossible is possible. Oh, well, we talk about patriotism through the prism of technologies, and you can involve into this process through 3 components. Preferably, this is material compensation to feel confident. Space, a very bright example, Russian Economical University. This is a place where you feel comfortable, where you want to create, and of course reasons, ambitions, which you follow and you reach something successful and you overcome the impossible. Sometimes when you have one component, like reasons, you can sacrifice others. So our task, and the task of companies sitting here and institutions which support development, is to create the conditions for young people, students, postgraduate students, and whoever is willing would be able to implement their potential. And being ambassadors of the platform, Russia is a country of opportunities, I can say that just to create new cases to show that we have opportunities in our country, and space provides for reasons. It gives something you can touch right here and right now at the border of technologies. On my table, I have so-called 3 bolts Foxat, and this is the side. They are multi-tons and round, and there are satellites flying with this. And there is a company, Planet.com, with 450 within 10 years, and every day at 10 a.m. they can have the shot of planet Earth, sell it to Apple, Google, and other companies, and they are capitalized as $1.5 billion at the market. So now we can get back to your first question to the audience regarding the fact that well, possibly we should go and find something else somewhere else, and I would like to respond quite clear-cut to that. Of course, you can take a position like the world influences over me somewhere else. It's better and somebody is waiting for me and I will be able to develop something there, or just to take a position that I influence the world. And in this case, when sometimes there is not sufficient satellites or some machines in our countries, there are opportunities that we can control right here and right now. And combining IT through technologies, engineering consequences, we can break through and go forward. And responding to your question, if this business would be super expensive, would you sell it abroad? Of course, the companies are normally considered at the market. We have 150 million people, and there abroad we have billions of people. And first of all, we should consider friendly countries expanding there, but it depends on business as well. So thanks to you, we have a stand with the radio location satellite, one of our machines which we do not have on the orbit, and together with the foundation we are structuring possible deal today. This is one of the opportunities which is available for technological entrepreneurs. And if I had to address with this project abroad, possibly my team and myself would be gladly taken. But the space, when I talk about the type of business, it's quite understandable that these are dual technologies. And just to sacrifice this to earn these 3 pennies, well, I wouldn't be able to sacrifice it. I will stay here, and we see it's happening now. So some of my colleagues, well, I could see the papers. When you cooperate with an Eastern country or some European country, if you want to get finance, you should sign that you are against your own country. This is the response to the question whether you are going to stay here or not. And with own example, let us make it possible. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dear colleagues, thank you so much for bringing us back to the topic. Now, I would like to give the floor to Dmitry Tenshin, Director General of LLC Runtech. The organization is dealing with consulting in a high-tech area. And my question is first and foremost about the situation overall. The situation in development of humanitarian sciences within the prism of development of technologies overall, how humanization of technologies should be arranged, because now we live in kind of world where technocracy has become kind of key issue, key position. And the name of our roundtable is about more human thing. And we believe that overall humanitarian school in Russia, in our country, requires new development, especially within the frame of what we discuss quite frequently. I mean technologies. And also, we would like to talk about humanitarian side of the issue. Well, good afternoon, dear colleagues. Can you hear me? Well, what I would like to say in response, what I'm going to share will express not only my opinion. I'm in Gascon company which is dealing with autonomous operating systems, and I would like to talk about development of humanitarian science through the prism of conservative part of our society. Our humanitarian science is working, sees problems through the prism of specific business which is dealing with the autonomous flight system and with the needs of my clients. So the theme is patriotism through the prism of technologies. And patriotism is an abstract notion, and many people believe in this. But how can you touch it? How can you shape it and assess the level of patriotism? My subjective point of view is that patriotism is humanitarian science, some doctrines, concepts, a legal regulation, which is actually embodiment of people's will as to regulation of public relations. And now we are going to speak about the situation with doctrine. When we talk about technologies, we should consider that law in every country, in most developed or most underdeveloped, will always be behind technologies. There will also be a legal gap in the absence of legal regulation. This is number one. Number two, in Russia, economy now is mostly controlled by the state. It is controlled by the public law, which is based on the principle that whatever is prescribed is allowed. So for many technologies, we do not have legal regulations, and we cannot implement technologies because we do not have proper permissions. How this problem was considered before the special military operations start? For this or that draft of law, we made comparative research. The technology being regulated in the West, in China, considering Russian peculiarities and based on comparative research, we offered a similar model to be implemented in Russia. After a special military operation, we do not consider Western doctrines such as democracy and allocation and segregation of duties. That was discriminated. So China and similar things are not the ideas are not suitable for Russia because we're a traditional and orthodox country. Maybe rights and freedoms are not that much developed, but we know the price for our freedoms and rights. We fought for it for 1,200 years. What should we do with the doctrine? I believe that in Russia, now, with the absence of these concepts, we should launch the program of support of humanitarian research. We keep on talking about technical specialists. We have a decade of science financing different programs, starting from Bortnik Foundation up to the institutions of technologies, but there are no similar opportunities for humanitarian scientists who also would like to develop, and we do not support their activity. Let us imagine a young student, a technical specialist. In the night, he or she could have a genius idea and willing to embody this. I can get grants and I can do cool things. And let's imagine a humanitarian specialist who got an idea of a concept of legal regulation, specific regime and technologies. What kind of motivations does he or she have to do these issues, to write an article, to promote this idea? The motivation is this: you will be able to be published in a scientific magazine. That's it. There are no measures of support. There is a Russian scientific foundations financing humanitarian research, but there is only like 3% of money dedicated to humanitarian research. As to the question of patriotism, well, now humanitarian science within next 5 or 10 years will determine the presence of digital sovereignty, because the national ideas in the area of technologies will identify vector and speed of technological development. So a brief example. Let's remember the Soviet Union. The natural sciences were developed at an incredible level. We have launched Buran and so on, but at 80s and 90s the country collapsed. Even though at the level of technological development we were on top. What was the problem? As to technological development, we were too far, and at the level of humanitarian doctrine and concepts, we remained at the stage of beginning of 20th century, when we had class theories being operated, the tools for production, and for those great entrepreneurs, they were not offered new doctrines, and in the absence of pressure, the pressure was not released. That is why we had this collapse. So probably in my speech I'm kind of critical. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. I see that we have many technological entrepreneurs in our country. And Michael, to your question, when you just launched the discussion,
would you stay here? If people would like to stay here, we need not only motivation but also infrastructure. We need relevant legal laws with remote piloted aircraft. We have a problem. We need certification. Certification requires 1 billion rubles. Not each startup possesses such kind of finance. Or if we speak about aerophoto shooting, we can make a video and photo video of matches, videos. We have a requirement that all photo and video materials before being forwarded to the third parties should have special approval to the general headquarters of the military ministry, so that there wouldn't be any hidden objects on these photo video materials. Technologies. Humanitarian science should follow technologies. Otherwise, we will have a lack. We will have a huge gap between legal norms. Technologies should have human face. The robot should have conscience, and conscience should be educated by the conscious people. When we speak about technologies, we started speaking a lot about technology of development, about the youth entrepreneurship, about technological sovereignty. We hear that there are more and more young entrepreneurs, there are more and more young developers. The young generation, they register their developments, they found their companies. If we hear about that from all sources, it means it's not only a trend, but there is a huge work behind that in order to promote this kind of work. As being a university, we see the volume of the state support measures for the young leaders who would like to make first steps in business. There is support for mentors, for those people who are ready to educate, to share their experience and knowledge. We know what technological park is. We have here one of such sites. It is just one floor down. We have special programs, educational curriculum at the faculties. We had time when, let me open you a small secret, even a dean couldn't know that the student is interested in the business, in the entrepreneurship. But now we have a platform of the technological entrepreneurship for students. This is a great scope of work. Among universities and our branches, we have a competition. How many students apply for competition? And we say, we stop them in order to learn and check if there are any mistakes in the application. The students, they know that they have state support and they are in a hurry to apply. I would like to express my gratitude to the Ministry of Education. Today there is Ksenia Pestova, the Chief of Technological Innovation Department of the Ministry of Education and Higher Education and Science of the Russian Federation. Please accept my gratitude, and these are thankful words not just from me, but on behalf of the university, of all our branches. I hope that in the near future we will cooperate with our foreign branches. My question is quite simple. It is an important question also for students, especially for those who watch us online. What opportunities are there for students? What is the direction of development of this sphere? Good afternoon, dear colleagues. On behalf of the ministry, I would like to say that we are really happy with your involvement and engagement. We also hope that you will join us in other directions. Within our federal project, we have a number of directions. We have educational tracks, trainings of entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial skills, accelerators. We have infrastructure projects. These are startup studios. Last year, we launched 19 entrepreneurship students and entrepreneurship sites. Last year, we founded 60 of them all over the country. We have financial mechanisms as well. For the students, scholarship could be of high interest. Last year, we provided 1,000 scholarships, and this year we have prepared 1,500 scholarships. The students can apply independently or as a group. We have support measures for business and investors. We reimburse up to 50% of investment into university startup. I was a bit sad when I saw very few hands at the beginning of our event. I hope that today, after our conversation in our event, our students will change their opinion about technological entrepreneurship, because one of the tasks of the state is to involve the youth into in the current direction. It is of high importance to start from school and university and to present the students the trust. They can take decisions which may not always be right, especially in terms of business, but the state and also development institutions. We have different operators for federal project. We have a number of institutional development institutions and technological parks. We all closely cooperate to help students to raise trust in you shouldn't be afraid of mistakes, and we hope you will raise your trust to the state support measures. Thanks a lot. My following question is addressed to Anna Alexey, the Director of Business Incubator for entrepreneurship. All those projects which are launched by the ministry, they are being carried in Anna's department. I mean, of course, projects connected with entrepreneurship and innovative technologies, entrepreneurial projects. My question is quite simple, and it unites. It combines of two questions and two I guess, speeches. We speak about technological entrepreneurship. We speak about technologies. What are your plans for this year? What are you working on now? We have a lot of projects, and the amount of contacts, I guess, reaches a figure of 500 people who at least once contacted your business incubator. What is the number of residents? 50 people, right? 50 projects. Yeah, there are 50 projects right now in our business incubator. Dear Anna Alexeyevna, so these 50 projects, what do you do with them? You have them to develop. What is your opinion? I think by that time it will be already 100 projects. In several years, I guess there will be more than 100% projects. So, for example, 100 projects. I guess you do your best. How many projects will answer as Nikita at the beginning, when their business will be of high interest, and they will have different offers from all over the world, and they will consider their offer? Or how many among these projects, and maybe you believe and you help them to give the answer that as our head of space, when we have a very clear position. Answering your first question, it was very interesting to hear this question. We are planning to continue cooperation and coordination and engagement in the platform of our technological innovation entrepreneurship. We will launch additional accelerating programs, curriculums for the students, which we can implement in our economy university. We have a large number of events connected with our business sites, about 60 events. 20 of them we implement together with our partners. We have accelerating program that includes 3 directions, and students can join and found their startup even if they have no idea. We will have hackathons, ideathons, so that these ideas would be generated. Answering your second question, as for educational part, I cannot say that I'm very much engaged in the educational process. I mean, whether we need to educate the person and to help him to, or does he have a special mentor who will persuade him that the company should stay in his homeland. If we speak about our residents of our business incubator, I have chosen for me such position that common activity unites people, or when communities are united by a single idea. We communicate and coordinate our work. It is beneficial for entrepreneurs because they have common goals and tasks. Right now, among our residents, we have 2 students who left the country, but they went for part-time program, temporary program, and we understand that they will come back to us. They went on a temporary education to improve their skills, but they will come back to continue work on their startups which are being implemented in Russia. As for patriotism and awareness about homeland and that we need more technological startups in our country, I think homeland and patriotism start from school or from university. being on the territory of university, we all have to remember about patriotism. And I remember when I was a first-year student, I graduated from this university. We were very active when we were singing the anthem and supported the structure because I feel my adherence to all these activities. When together we create something new, you understand how much you influence the university. I would be there enough to say the economy of the country. The patriotism starts from the university, from business incubator. When I attend our events, including the event today, I see that our residents, we have made our special pins. When I see that our students wear our pins, it shows the patriotic sign. I think it would be logical to continue answering your question. We are leading this discussion on behalf of the adults, and we would like to understand what is in the head of the students, in the heads of our technological students. What are they considering? Do they consider moving abroad, or they would like to stay in Russia? Will you allow me? Yes, of course, I will allow you to continue. I would like to give the floor to the students, to our residents, Simeon and Kirill, as a representative of our community, the best representatives. I'm proud for their work. What are they considering? What do they think of the university support, of the support in general, and development of startup on the territory of Russia? And you are already legal entities. So let's start from the first question. Did you receive any offers? Frankly speaking, no. And if you receive such an offer, it's an interesting question. As it has already been mentioned, there are different markets where we can grow. For the time being, we are aware that on technological behalf, we may lose in many moments in Russia, thanks to scholarships, thanks to different support structures such as non-governmental organization. Russia is a country of opportunities, and many others. We have an atmosphere where we can grow, where we can improve our skills, where we can learn how to do business, and then to close a deal. It's better when you're not a student, but when you are a well-prepared entrepreneur. And that is why I haven't thought of it yet. I think it's time for you to think of it. Andrew, the floor is yours. Strengthening of technological sovereignty of the country, this is a task which is set in front of us, and we are responsible for implementation of it. In Russia, there are a lot of projects, a lot of programs that allow to implement all the projects that the student would like to implement. If we speak about some legal issues, for example, accreditation of state IT company, or there is an opportunity receiving discounted mortgage, paying insurance, and so on. For me, who has already several companies, all these support measures are very attractive. Not everywhere these opportunities are available. I would like to share an example, a positive example of integration. We were speaking about IT community, and the question is how the student can enter this, can join this IT community Here, I would like to mention the competition Digital Breakthrough. This competition was made to support development of the best experts in the country and to prepare a platform for cooperation of different talents. We had an opportunity to pitch our project in front of the Minister of Digital Development, for example. We have already mentioned today hackathons. One of such hackathons has become the key hackathon. When I was solving the task, I found such an issue that motivated me to create a really important product in my company. And this is a positive case for each student. And this should be of high importance. An opportunity to receive such important higher education in such directions as artificial intelligence and technological innovations, we all have these opportunities here.
Oh, well, and actually you also pilot your product, and you pilot it in Russia. It's out of the question. Yes, Semyon has mentioned about Agency of Strategic Initiatives. With their support, we have found a number of pilots. Kirov plant, I have a project in electrical energy. We also cooperate with Gazprom. So we reach through state corporations, and the university actively participates through incubators as well. Oh, well, could you please answer my question? Oh, well, it's out of the question that the markets of friendly countries are considered by me, and optimization of electrical energy is very important for me, and there is demand. However, the market of Russia is huge, and we have quite a lot of companies. That is why I'm not going to leave yet. So it means that patriotism is present in business incubator. So 50-50. You have a place where to work, with what to work, where to develop, and which is the response of students and youth that we should react. So this is the response is here within educational issues as well. And I would like to add, well, we are asking people and those who have done something, who invested their products, they always answer with kind of doubts. And I think that this expression of emotions is actually a proof that we have a problem, and we should do it so that people, when asked these questions, they would undoubtedly say, yes, I stay. Well, dear colleagues, I also have something to add here. This is a question with manipulation. Mikhail can ask such questions. Well, actually, I believe that for any technological entrepreneur, and not only for a technological one, it's important to have the idea. And a soldier who is not willing to become a general is not good. So in our beautiful country, it's quite strange to say, do not go anywhere, stay here. I'm talking from the point of view of game market. And as games are a kind of international product, and technologies and transfer of technologies should be arranged at the world level. And I believe we should not lock ourselves and talk about import substitution, because it's not reasonable to create another bicycle, to reinvent the wheel. And we should make it so that the guys would return and would be willing to return here. And it's important for Western specialists to come here and stay here. And here, I believe we have something to work at. And first and foremost, each of us should start remember our gifted people and technologies that were created in Russia, because there are many things which are used by the West. There are many technologies that are being scaled at the West, and they were invented in Russia. But we never talk about this. And here we get back about the issue of PR. We should talk about our skilled people, about our technologies, about the people of Russia who create this. And so each of us can be successful in this. So once we start talking about the cool examples that exist in each and every industry. we work at. So we have reached the issue of education overall. And I believe that it's very timely, because I would like to address to Ms. Natalia, who is head of Educational Control Department within the University of National Technological Initiative. Well, maybe, I would like to put it like this. Overall, entrepreneurs education, scientific and technological entrepreneurship in educational tracks. Well, the University of NT, how does it consider the youth initiative of entrepreneurship overall? And we really respect the university and the 2035 and the products that are there. We study them, you teach us, we are happy to have that. And maybe also university and community forms that. And if you feel like summarizing this, we will be grateful. And at the end, we will have a couple of questions from the audience. Thank you so much, Mikhail. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm very pleased to speak at this forum. We have a diverse discussion with totally different approaches to drones, to projects, to technological entrepreneurship, and I was interested about the preamble of my speech. Actually, what we have is that the forum is called A Step Towards the Future. In this or that way, we talk about technologies that are going to happen in the future, the stuff that we should train and educate, and the industry of drones, space, artificial intelligence, digital economy. Basically, these are the directions where the education of staff is basis for development for all these directions. Mainly, in order to do something, we need people who can do this. And we see that technologies are being developed with such a speed, but with actually terrifying acceleration. So development of this or that technologies makes more important the issue of education of specific staff. Talking about drones, now this is an area which is not mostly related to profession, but it is mostly interesting until now to people from the point of view, like on 30th of December 2022, President prepared a decree on development of drone aviation as industry. What we move on to, what was a hobby someday, what used to be sport, now becomes more and more in demand from the point of view of professional activity. So it was mentioned that there are issues about how people can use their knowledge, what kind of professions we have at these borders, or artificial intelligence. For instance, we all know that there are technologies of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on. To which profession it is going to relate? When small kids are asked who you want to be in the future, they talk about the professions they understand, they see the application. And for instance, a profession of engineer. Who is an engineer? What he or she is doing? Artificial intelligence, what is it? It's not only a mechanism which helps to solve tasks. So this is data analysis, data engineers, so a number of professions which are new. University 2035 is also related to the way we can implement new professions. Piloted aviation, artificial intelligence. So a number of companies in federal projects are studying on artificial intelligence, digital economy, stuff for digital economy, education of children in the sphere of programming, so that we would be able to form the competencies that will be in demand. And once we have knowledge, once we have skills, we can use those in some startups, in some projects that are kind of productive. And then it is possible to ask the authors, do you stay? Or are you ready to expand your business? Then there are questions which are not related to patriotism just in words, but in actions which should be applied. And people start taking their decisions with their competences, where they are going to bring these competences further on, to the development of our country, or are they just going to use their knowledge and scale it to some other areas? And we used to say that we only choose projects and search for best talents. Now this kind of project platform is the whole country, because now it's much easier to do this with modern technologies. And for instance, Plekhanov University, not only, as you have said, people learn here, we were also participating in many projects, and you also taught people, and also the people who are not right here next to us. And arrangement of communities which help to scale our approaches and also exchange with people who are remotely. And after 2020 and pandemic, this is not a wish, but this is kind of need, which is quite, by the way, it's quite nice that we are not together in Zoom as we got used to, or another conference call, but that we see each other physically and we communicate physically. Still, modern technologies make it possible to arrange it in other formats. So we are about helping people to create, to develop, and to use their knowledge for the benefit of development of the country. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think that, well, it's really important. I believe that all the speakers have already expressed themselves, and one of the key theses which was mentioned is about formation of community. And actually, I'm very happy that we met together, that we could see each other, that we could talk and communicate. And we communicated with the students not only within the frames of lectures and seminars, but we also asked about some sincere things. And possibly thinking about what tomorrow will look like when we enter the technological future, for sure, with different strange chats, GPT and other things, when all tests of hearing and others will be passed by robot quite freely, and will be scared, not knowing with whom we communicate, with a human or a machine. Well, at least I want to believe today that the second thesis after scientific and research entrepreneurship was that we should get together, we should see each other more, we should communicate more. Well, possibly that should also be reflected in the postulates of state policy, in state tasks and goals, and also formation of these communities on cooperation with each other, on communication, on answering the questions which we ask, and with the wishes to colleagues to communicate more. Well, what you have mentioned initially, I get back to this, and I would like to add something to your words. Everyone is very much worried that in the future artificial intelligence will win, but in the future actually we'll have not an artificial intelligence winning, but a human with artificial intelligence who will win. Or several people with several artificial intelligence. So great, dear friends. Let's communicate more, let's get together more, let's arrange our joint plans and reach those. I'm firmly convinced that we will reach the future together. And today, within the frames of the forum, we have already formed our community. At least I believe that community of dreamers and people visionaries, those who wishes better, and who wants to create through the projects and wish for a better future for the country. Thank you so much, and I believe that we can finish.